Yo, what's going on? It's the NOC, the Nerds of Color, and we are back with another ShoPowSho. It's your boy, Kuya P, aka Patrick Michael Strange, the Babinka boy, the Adobro, the leader of the Holla Holla homies in the center gang. Back again with one of the amazing Ates. Unfortunately, Viva Valentina couldn't make it tonight, but I have my Sisig Supreme, my Dinaguan Destroyer. What's up, Kataphorric? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Happy to be here.
Love the vibes. Ready to rock out another one. I have a returning friend. She hasn't returned. This is her first time on ShoPowSho, but I'm happy to, really excited to introduce you to her. She's absolutely hilarious. She's both an actor and comedian. Let me read a little bit of her bio. Let me give her a proper lead-in. She's was born in Olonga, Philippines, graduate of NYU Circle and Square Musical Theater. She recently closed the lead role in a 4-city touring Broadway production of Sherlock Holmes, where she was opposite David Arquette and James Maslow. She can be seen on the upcoming season of True TV's Adam Ruins Everything, season 3. She's a stand-up comedian and writer who performs on the main stage at Gotham Comedy Club, the Comedy Store. She also co-wrote and performed in Jeremy Lin's the musical, The Unauthorized Journey to Linsanity. She also wrote a pilot called The Asian That Didn't / Asian-ish. That was a recent finalist for Showtime's Tony Cox Award, Sundance Lab, and the Orchard Lab's inaugural season. How I met her in March of 2020 of last year, she taped a comedy special called Asian Americanized, an immigrant comedy special where she narrates her experience as an immigrant, a mestizo in contemporary America in Hollywood. I just love her energy. I love her vibe. She's so real. Let's bring her on the screen. I'm gonna throw up them air horns like you know how we do because we celebrate our people. Let's give her flowers. Miss Tuazon Parsons.
Welcome.
Hey, what up?
So great to see you. I miss your face.
I miss you too. It's so good. You're so close, but so far away.
Right? I'm going to be making it out to LA. This pandemic, man, you know, I'm all vaccinated. I hope you've gotten, I think we were last talking, we were getting vaccinated, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we're all vaxxed up, but we still got a damn pandemic still going on because people can't listen. Right? But anyway, I can't wait to see your face when I get out to LA because there's so many things happening. Asian Americans are killing it right now. So we're just happy to celebrate ourselves and just keep shining because it's going to be our time. And it's our time right now. You know what I'm saying? We're killing it in Hollywood right now, and we're just going to keep it going. But hopefully we can do it together in celebration. I'm looking forward to that. So let's get it out the gate. Kat, can you fill in for Tina with that first question? That you know how we do?
I can. All right.
So let's rock and roll. I'm throwing it to Kat.
We always want to start off by asking, where are you from? But like, where are you really from? But like, where are your parents from?
Yeah, so this is a fun one. Well, I was born in Olongapo, and my mom, my biological mom, Lou, she actually smuggled me from the Philippines into the US. So she took me through, she got pregnant in her late 40s on a Navy base, don't know the dad, total Miss Saigon scenario. But she was like, I am taking her to the US, give her a better life, sacrifice everything she had. And then I was brought to New Jersey. She actually passed away and I was adopted by her sister. And then I moved to California. So I was actually raised by my uncle and my aunt, but my aunt is my blood related aunt. And that's where I grew up in Southern California. Like, oh my God, that's where I grew up.
Wow. But that's such a powerful and that knowing what you're about your biological mother. I'm not sure, it's difficult when you hear things like that. I don't know. How do you deal with that when people may I ask you, when people ask you that, because of that connection, how do you answer that?
Yeah, well, growing up, I don't think I recognized or realized the weight of what all of that was. Not until you get older are you like, holy fuck, like what did she do? Like, you know what I mean? You're just like your head's exploding, like everything your parents did. But there is a through line, I think, both in like the Filipino culture and especially the women in my family. They are strong motherfuckers. They are so strong. Like they set the bar so high for who I have to be and how strong I have to be. So the whole thing has only just made me really, as cheesy as it sounds, super grateful, just grateful to have, I mean, even things like being an actor and, I know Canadian actors who can't get jobs in the US because they don't have papers, you know what I mean? Like things that seem so like easy and basic, that I was lucky enough to get growing up because of everything my family did, makes me the cheesiest, gratefulest person ever.
I love that. And I think I'm so blessed to have so many amazing Filipino women in my life, knowing the two of you that are on my screen right now. We had the amazing Carolyn Faye, who is the Lola from Blue's Clues. She reminded the Ates, and Philippine women are madrigma. Am I saying that right, Kat? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but if you're familiar with that term.
Tina's our note taker.
Yeah, we're missing Tina, but madrigma, that just, our amazing Philippine warrior women, y'all are warriors. When the men were sent off or just doing whatever the heck they were doing, because some of us are knuckleheads. I'll say that, but warrior women held it down, took care of the family, everything. So I am so appreciative of that. And your mother, biological mother, as you stated, she did everything she can to make sure you had a better life. And it's unfortunate. But it seemed like you had an amazing aunt as well. And like you said, growing up. So tell us a little bit about that young life, if you don't mind. Like what age did you move from Jersey to Cali?
So she passed away when I was 7, and that's when my parents were ironically in Massachusetts, so they're close on the East Coast, and they were about to move to Santa Barbara, Goleta actually specifically. So the timing was perfect, ironically, in that sense, and they just swooped me up and brought me to Goleta. They adopted me, and then I was able to get papers. Okay. So because of like the adoption and all that stuff. So I think the blood relation also helped. My mom, my aunt, that was incredible of her, of course. Like, again, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, like everything you did for me. I grew up in a very middle class Goleta, like, oh my God, I'm like Santa Barbara girl, and I actually didn't have a lot of culture around me. There weren't a lot of Filipinos. And my mom was sort of involved a little bit in the Filipino like associations and stuff, but there was a lot of assimilation that she needed to do. And so it was like, let's white her out because like white is safe. And, being white is how we can fit in. So I don't feel like I discovered myself until later in life when I was like, who am I? You know what I mean? Like, who am I as a Filipino? Who am I being Asian? Like I went through a whole Latina phase. I was like, I'm a chola, I just like a whole identity crisis of things. But now I feel like I'm finally coming into me and, finding my voice and all that stuff. So.
Oh, no, I love that. And I'm happy you sharing that. And I really appreciate sharing that because sometimes we don't admit that. But that is the reason why I'm doing this show. And I know why Kat and Tina do the show, because we both had, are of mixed heritage. We're mestizos. And I think for you, Kat, you had your white mother and your father was Filipino, right? So
yes.
Grew up very white, right?
Yeah, because I didn't grow up with my father. So again, that was something that happened a lot later in my life.
Yeah. So it's a shared journey. And that's why we've come to find, and I just think is interesting because of all that. Yet, a lot of us now have immense pride as we learn about our culture and find out everything that they went through. It's a sense of pride. And I feel like I'm giving those ancestors life again because I'm finding them, and they're not erased by time, which time can do. So, so growing up, go ahead.
Using the mestizo experience, I think that it's such a unique experience in itself, right? Because like, as I try to attach or like find myself in the culture, having a white father, was a certain experience. It wasn't a white household and it wasn't strictly Filipino. You know what I mean? It was like, although I joke in my thing because like he eventually turned Filipino because that's all what Filipino women do is like turn their white husbands into like Filipinos. Like everything is Filipino. He just like, wants to do everything. He wants to feed her Filipino food. He wants to like just be like inside. He really is a Filipino now.
I feel that. So yeah, let's keep on digging around because I'm curious where some of the comedy, because I know I'm aware of your comedy special, which is amazing. And real quick plug, I'm gonna do some plugs in here. Check out Asian Americanized, an immigrant comedy special. It's touring the festival circuit, as well as check out Crazy Woke Asians Festival, November 12th and 13th in Santa Monica, California, where you can catch the lovely Anna Tuazon Parsons. Yeah, growing up Cali from Boston. So you know, you're 7, but you grew up, like you said, very white. You weren't really, I'm assuming, not speaking the language. You went Chola a little bit. Just tell us about some of your middle school, high school years. What were you into? Would any of what you're doing or activities lead you into comedy and acting that we know now?
Well, in like my first memory of being on stage was being in like the 6th grade play. I played like the bag lady and I ran into the wall. But like, I think the reason I liked it was because like the boys were like, it was like to get to like talk to the guys because whatever. Anyways, it wasn't really because I wanted to be an actor or anything. And then in middle school, I actually, in terms of being a performer, I was on like drill team. And then in high school, I was a cheerleader, but I was like a punk rock cheerleader because I was super into punk music. And then I got kicked off the team because I was a bad cheerleader. And I didn't actually act at all. Like I was performing in those ways, but I wasn't really, acting. I stopped. I don't know why I didn't do it in high school. But then after high school, I just started taking classes. Like I was like, oh, this basically was like what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I going to do with my life? And what happened was I wasn't good at anything except for theater. Like literally the only classes I excelled in was theater art. So it happened because it was just something I was honestly kind of good at. And I think I found, there's a sense of finding myself in the work. And I felt like it's, I don't know, at the time therapeutic, that kind of thing. So, and I don't feel like my journey as an actor started until I moved to New York. So I moved to LA, I was taking classes, and then I got accepted to theater school in New York. And that's like really where my journey started, I feel like. Doing Shakespeare and classical theater and mime and, like shit like that.
Okay. So before I get there, then what were you into then? You when you were in high school until you found like that? You said
what was I into in high school?
Tell me
I was in the punk scene.
Rebellious, right?
Oh yeah, I was like super ska. I was into a type of music called straight edge music. I don't know if you guys know, like hardcore. Yeah. Strife, sick of it all. I was fucking punk. Like I was like, I'd go to shows, I'd get dressed up, I was in the mosh pit. I was like, yeah. And the funniest part about that is that my husband, who I married many years later, who I met on Tinder, he also grew up in the punk scene. And we realized that like 20 years ago, we had gone to the same exact punk shows.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because he's friends with Strife and I used to go to the Strife shows as a kid. So yeah, we both have like X's on our hands. Just crazy. Yeah, I was a punk girl.
Okay. So just a little bit of rebellious and then you got into the arts. So tell me about like all right, so you're in school, you're learning acting professionally. What was that like, getting like, it's one thing to like, you're watching film, TV and you have this idealization of what an actor is, but then the actual training aspect of it.
It was awesome. I mean, New York City was I feel like it's like the stereotypical, I was the starving artist, like, in a tiny apartment sharing with 5 people, going to school and like, and I was just in the work. I was lucky enough. I was waiting tables and like, paying for school and things like that. But it was awesome. Like, I feel like I got to do Shakespeare. I got to do, like mime, classical work, things that like, I don't ever get to do now. And yeah, I feel like those were my sort of formative years as an artist. And also like just being in New York City and getting to see Broadway and like just getting to see off Broadway and seeing shows and like, doing random theater in a weird park somewhere, you know what I mean? Like that's where I feel like, and even the grind of it all, like I would wait tables till 4 a.m, because that's when the bar closed. And then I would get up at like 6 to go to Actors Equity to try to get my equity card to like wait in line, like in the rain to do a monologue for, I don't know, Classical Theater of Harlem for $2 a week or whatever. But I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is the dream. I am an actor. And it really was. I mean, like looking back, I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? Like I had 2 auditions in a day and I'm like, I'm tired. But
Right?
yeah, it really built the grit in me, and I did the whole thing, that whole thing.
I love it. What do you connect most with acting? Is it like finding when you get a script, like what goes through your head first, or like, how is it that you connect? Is your process like, or when you're like auditioning, what, like, are you good memorizing when you audition, or do you need to like get a lot of feedback from the director? Just what kind of an actor are you in finding yourself in a part? I'm curious.
I feel like my process has evolved and changed, because in school we studied Strasberg, so it was like straight up, fucking sense memory, like, oh, I'm in my home from when I was 5, that kind of stuff. And here, as I moved to LA, it's just I feel like I've picked and chosen things that have worked for me and continue to work for me. I'm terrible at memorizing, so that is something I actually constantly have to work on. But at BG, I was studying at BGB Studio, where that's like heavily Meisner. So my process now is actually not spending a lot of time, unless it's Shakespeare or something that's like highly heightened classical work. But I try to not spend too much time in it, because I actually think I get worse the more time I spend on like an audition. I'm like, I'm just overthinking this. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to trust my instincts and find what connects me to the piece or to the character. If I have the time, I get to do fun things like, find it in my character's shoes, or like a piece of something that the character's getting to carry or whatever. Never get to do that because you never have enough time. But that's kind of me.
So did you earlier on, was it a lot of stage work? I'm assuming.
Yeah, a lot of stage, and New York City was all theater. I started doing like print and commercials right before I moved to LA. But previous to that, it was like, I think right before I moved to LA, I was in Vermont doing Shakespeare and just a lot of classical work.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop here for a second, because I've been trying to get these little pro tips in some recent interviews, like lessons learned at different stages of our life as we go through these life stories. What would be a pro tip that you learned from the experience from, earlier on that we talked about to now in this current stage of your life, that you learned at this point that you would point out to a young actor that's watching this right now?
A pro tip.
Or lessons learned.
I mean, lessons learned are like, being an actor you have to love the work. Yeah. You have to love the work. If you don't love the work, then you're going to burn out. Or, I mean, I think maybe 3 people from my class are still acting, you know what I mean? Like, so it's having passion for doing the work, and doing the work without asking for anything back, either money or whatever, fame or accolades or, validation. And I think I would say to myself, a lot of being an actor isn't actually getting to act. So much of it is just the business, or it is like just the grind, just those auditions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that back then I would have, that would have changed any perspective, but like, they don't teach you that in theater school. They or like even when you meet your first agent, it's just like, oh, you don't realize the grind is actually just auditioning and just, networking and things like that. So I guess I would tell an actor to just get ready for the long haul. It's literally, it's like the Olympics.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. So while you were there getting your acting on, learning how to become a professional actor, when did you start dabbling with like writing for yourself? Because I know you're a writer. Were you dabbling, like creating your own projects then, or
no? I mean,
get to LA?
Yeah, I started doing it. I worked with Labyrinth Theater Company, Phil Hoffman's theater company, and a lot of their stuff in their masterclass teach actors to be multi-hyphenate. So I think I'd maybe written a short play then, but I didn't really start writing until I started doing stand-up. And I started doing stand-up about 7 years ago was when I got dumped and I had to put it on stage. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really good at this. And then through that, essentially out of necessity, because I didn't feel like I was getting either cast in things that I wanted to be in, or like in Jeremy Lin the musical was another example of that. Like we were actors who were looking to do something, and we were like, we're not working, and we're talented, we love musical theater, like let's do this. So it was weirdly born out of necessity, but then also became something I feel like now I lean more into, even more so as an actor.
Hell yeah, I completely agree with that. That's why I'm talking to you right now. That's how I got into hosting. 2007. That's when I really stopped acting aggressively and started getting behind the camera. So, all right, enough about me. We're in New York. We're going to LA now. You did your thing. So tell me about that move from LA and now back closer to family, right?
So I moved because my mom was diagnosed with what we thought was early onset Alzheimer's. So she was like losing her memory, and I moved to be closer to her. So I just wanted to, a lot of actors I knew were like, oh, I'm gonna go to LA. And like LA scared the shit out of me. I was like, it's too big. I feel like I'm a small fish and I know every Asian actor in New York City and like I'm okay here, but I was lucky enough to have family. And I also had a lot of friends from New York who had already moved to Los Angeles. And I took maybe 3 months of meetings, and then I came out and I just started auditioning, and like that's how I started doing commercials and all that good stuff. So
okay, what do you think about commercial work? Do you prefer the stage over commercial work, TV work, film work?
I like
what do you think of that difference?
The money in commercials and the money in TV is obviously nice.
Yeah.
I think my heart definitely loves theater. I mean, that's but yeah, I mean, I feel very lucky in that when I moved here and started auditioning, I started sort of booking commercials right away. And there's a percentage of actors you make for health insurance, and it sort of helps you carry through. And
yeah.
It's nice. It's stuff that I didn't actually think in theater school. Like I'd be doing commercials or, whatever, even TV. Yeah. But it's good when you're working,
Hell yeah. Any recommendations in regards to like getting agents? Like how was that process when you now, because here in LA, keep food on the table, like I said, insurance, getting those commercial agents to work with you and find you.
Well, I would tell you what I would not do, which is what I did for our showcase for theater school, because me and my scene partner were fucking theater snobs, and we were like, we're gonna do Les Liaisons Dangereuses. We were like, we are gonna dress up in these like 1800 Victorian outfits with these huge wigs on, because for showcase, agents come and they want to like sign you out of theater school because you're young and whatever. And me and my scene partner were like, we are artists. We are going to do. I mean, now it would have been cool because of Hamilton and all that stuff, but needless to say, I did not get an agent from Showcase. Referrals, I mean, obviously, like who asking for favors, taking your time, because also I feel like what we don't think as actors is like, one, they're working for us, and two, it's building a relationship. You know what I mean? Like you're working with them and they're working for you, and it has to be somebody that you like. I mean, honestly, I hustled. Like I did referrals. I called and pitched myself. I was also pretty naive. Like I think I walked into like Leverage or one of those huge like management companies, because I came here from New York and I was like, I am here, everyone. And these people were like, she's only theater credits. Like, what does she think she's doing? But I was like, fuck it, I'm here. And there's a part of you, I think, that sometimes has to have that, you know what I mean? Like you have to have that belief in yourself, and you have to have those sort of cojones to be able to, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
The majority of my work in terms of my agents and stuff have been referrals or people I know or actors, that have referred me. Okay. So, but I got lucky to sign right away when I moved to LA.
Yeah. Man, I always gave, as a producer, and when I would, and when I had a cast for different projects, I always gave mad respect to theater actors because it just, I know for myself that commitment that y'all as, actors, because you have to put on these stage plays or performances, and it's a lot of, rehearsal, right? That I couldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do it. So to me, they're the best. They're well trained. They're ready. I know if I hire them when they come to set, they'll be ready to rock and roll. So I always gave mad respect, and I still do. I think theater actors are some of the best actors out there. So shout out to all my theater actors out there. So okay, you getting your agent, you're doing your thing. I want to go back to the culture question because as we stated earlier, you grew up, very colonized and white culture. Was this are we getting to the time you started, wanting to find yourself a little bit, I would assume that when as actors, we're always having to play these different roles, and then I'm sure you're getting, hey, you could be Pocahontas, which is what we get, which I know of for a lot of my female Asian actresses, they get that, so did stereotyping come into play with that and making you find or want to seek for yourself your knowledge?
I mean, I feel like I was kind of, I don't know if we'll call it lucky, but I feel like being mestizo, oftentimes it was like, she's not Asian enough, or, you know what I mean? She's not Filipino enough. Yep. With the commercial world, it's being, being ethnically ambiguous, as they say, has certainly helped me. But in terms of finding myself, I feel like I started to find myself really when I started to do stand-up, because I started to find my voice as a performer, a voice as a Filipino woman. And then that's what encouraged me to write all the pilots that I've written that are completely very Filipino centric, because my goal in this life is to get us out there, get shows made with us, just a fuck ton of Filipinos on a set is my dream. But I really started to find myself in my writing, in the television pilots I've written, as well as my stand-up.
Oh yeah. So how did we get into the comedian route? So you're acting, doing your thing, doing commercials. What was the not booking enough, like we kind of said earlier, that's what led you into the comedian route, or what was the catalyst?
I started because I had a breakup, and that breakup it led me to write my quote breakup set, and I'd always wanted to do stand-up, but I knew it was going to be like one of the hardest things ever. It always scared me as an actor. So but I wrote the set, and people responded to it. Like, people were like, oh my God, I know that too. Like, I've been dumped too. You know what I mean? And then I took it to New York, and it just sort of evolved from there. So I guess it started because of a lot of depression and drinking Malbec. So I decided to just put that on stage because that's what's happening.
You know what? I dig it. You know what I'm saying? That I think we as fans of the medium would say that a lot of things that we like from our favorite artists started, they had to go through some shit to give us the amazing stuff we like and love, So, it is what it is. But I think it's an important lesson that we all grow from that. And it's these experiences that make us better people. So I'm sorry that you had to go through a bad breakup, but it gave us art, and I
got art out of it. So, we just turn it into lemonade.
Hell yeah.
Lemonade.
So let's talk about Linsanity. Let's go back to some of these things that I was, in going through the list of your credits. How did Linsanity come about with you writing, performing that crazy musical, The Unauthorized Journey to Linsanity?
Well, so it was obviously during the time that Jeremy Lin just blew up. I was I know Evelyn Nakano and Aiden Park, who were co-writers. We got together, and I don't know if it was that we had immediately thought of that, but that's somehow what we thought of. And it was essentially a parody of sort of like it was a parody, but it was also like a hero story, right? And we wrote it, and because we wanted to put it on stage and have the profits go to a charity, because we were like, okay, we're actors, but can we give back in another way? And that's always been something that I've been very passionate about in my career. And people loved the show. Like, people were like, oh my God, this is so funny. Like, this is heartfelt. You're rooting for him. He wins in the end. He finds himself. I mean, some of the stuff I'm like, oh my God, we did that. It was like, he meets his fairy godmother and she says, you have to be Black. So it was like, someone was like, oh, maybe that wasn't so good. But it was funny at the time. But people responded to it. So we ended up taking it, we did it at UCB, as we followed up at UCB, and then we ended up taking it to San Francisco. And we wanted to take it further, but there were things in regards to legality things with Jeremy. And I mean, Edelin knows some of his crew, and we just didn't want to get sort of in that, but it was great for what it was. And it was a surprising thing where we didn't realize people would love it that much. So
do you know if he ever caught wind of it? If he
yeah, he did.
Yeah? Did he give
and
you
I
thoughts?
I hear he hates I hear he hates it all. Like, any, like, because there was another video that came out, and like he's not into it. That's okay. It's cool.
You gotta be able to laugh at yourself though sometimes. I think, you know, I think it would be hilarious if somebody did something on me. I'd laugh my ass off. So amazing. I would have checked it out. You know, I think we have to be able to laugh at ourselves, you know. So tell me about the other amazing pilot that you put together, the Asian that didn't / Asian-ish.
Yes.
And how did that kind of come together as well?
Yeah, so I wrote that, again, it was after my break. I was just sort of based on this time frame in my life where I was, you know, just kind of struggling and finding myself and Tindering. It was pre my husband, my wonderful husband. And I wanted to write a pilot that obviously was semi-autobiographical, and I wanted to write a pilot about a woman who's flawed, because I find that I don't know, perfect women just don't interest me. And I love the idea of somebody being Filipino, and, you know, it's about me being a failed Filipino, because I didn't become a nurse. I didn't become a doctor. I didn't do any of those things. I decided to become an artist. And it's essentially, it's kind of like if Louis or Amy Schumer had like a Filipino baby. Like,
I like that.
Flawed. She's like trying to figure her stuff out. She's, you know, not living up to her familial expectations. She has like a breakdown at a family reunion, and it's a really fun pilot. And I think, again, like, one of the reasons I love it so much is because she isn't the perfect Asian, you know, she's not the perfect Filipino.
Let's break these monoliths, this, you know, model minority type shit. Like, love that. I love that. So are you still shopping that around? Hopefully. Yeah.
So it's I'm kind of, we're still working on trying to get it made. But it was up for Sundance and people have been passing it around. But, you know, as you know, everything in Hollywood takes 7,000 years to even go to the first day of production. But we're still chipping away at it. So
maybe at least get a pilot out there to just have that test, and then hopefully can carry on to a series. Would be nice. I'm crossing my fingers. I'd be down and wholly will support it.
Thank you. You could be part of the family. There's definitely some lots.
Hey, you know, I'm acting again. You know, holla at your boy. I know a bunch of Pinoys. We can get up in there, get the whole Kabayan rocking and rolling. All right, so then let's go ahead and bring in Asian American Eyes, and then I want to get back this return to theater acting, because you recently finished up with Sherlock Holmes. But how I came across you and met you with Asian Americanized, obviously, you know, you like very much like it's kind of cookie cutter, like you're writing what you know and yourself, and so you put yourself in, you kind of really do a full turn in regards to comedy now than just the narrative stuff that you did with the Asian that didn't, and all of that. So tell me how that came together with the amazing Nikki Andres and Aiden Park, who are so amazing. And I can't thank you enough for introducing me to them.
I love Nikki.
Love them.
The best. So Nikki and I met in an acting class. And of course, first day I was like, it was like Asian. let's hang. And then Aiden and I met doing background on a Asher Roth music video a million years ago. I don't know. And then we connected because of like musical theater. But I was still doing comedy, and somehow I was in a meditation or something, and it came to me that I was like, oh, Nikki's an immigrant, Aiden's an immigrant, we're all Asians, like we need to write something together. And I also just like, I was like, again, in my writing, like what is important to me? Who do I want to be in the world, and who do I want to be seen in the world, or what kind of things do I want to see? So we got together, we started writing. It probably was about a year of workshopping material, just hitting stages and like rewrites and coming together and finding what's working, what's not, taking bits out, putting bits in. And then with the support of Risa Brahma Garcia and Steve Braun, we taped it at at BGB Studio. We had 2 live tapings with a live audience, and it's pretty amazing. We call it our baby Cobra meets Nanette. It's heartfelt. It's our stories as immigrants and our striving to assimilate and trying to fit in and trying to find ourselves. And we each all have our unique journeys within that. So it's something I am incredibly proud of, and I'm excited to show it to the world.
Yeah, I can't wait for the rest of the world to see it. I want to see it again, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed it. I laughed my ass off, and I also cried. It made me go, those range of emotions, which I think good comedy can do for you. And
that was our
that's
goal.
The type of comedy I like.
Yes! Huh? I said that was our goal. We were like,
hell yeah,
make them cry.
Hell yeah, and it was so good. And much props to the trio of amazing artists that you all are. I loved it. Laughed my ass off. And so, yeah, man, when it comes to y'all, see it. Asian American Eyes, an immigrant comedy special. And also let me again promote Crazy Woke Asians Festival. I want to get these in there for my homie. November 12th and 13th in Santa Monica, California. Don't miss out. Anna Tuazon Parsons will be there. Asian Americanized. You knocked these. You knocked out this great screenplay. That we hopefully get made. I'm crossing my fingers. The Asian that didn't. You did the Jason Lin story, but now getting back into acting. Theater, stage. Because you're doing acting, you're doing commercials, you're doing everything you can in LA. But dipping back into theater, how did that come about again in LA?
Yeah, so that was kind of crazy. And that was actually it was a little while ago. It was about 5 years ago. It was the last time I did a major tour. Okay. But I got a Facebook message from this wonderful actor, Patrick Costello, who I went to theater school with. And this is 2002 to 2004. Like, so this is a long time after I went to school with him. I hadn't talked to him. Like, he messages me and he's like, hey, like, are you still acting? He's like, he's kind of weird. We're recasting an Asian role in a production. It's crazy. It's with David Arquette. He's like, are you interested? And I was like, sure. A random Facebook message from Patrick from theater school 10 years ago. I was like, oh, sure. Long story short, I auditioned and got it, but they had already cast it. It was already, they'd already been doing it in Montreal with an actor named Jay Baruchel. And I think Jay didn't want to do the tour, was too busy. And I think like Adrian Brody was interested, but then David came on board, and it was a whirlwind. Like I auditioned, I think on, Friday or Saturday. And then I was in the theater on Monday, and we just went to rehearse. Yeah. So it was incredible. It was an international Broadway tour, like Broadway houses, like an amazing cast. So the other thing about theater that you love, or I love, is that when you have a great cast, it's like a family. Mm-hmm. So just experiencing that and just being able to do theater and wear a corset and, be an opium den runner, bad woman. It was fun. It was really fun.
I love it. So are you still dabbling with theater now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't audition for a ton of theater. And also, Broadway. I think Broadway just came back. I forget. We're in pandemic. I'm forgetting. Yeah. But it is starting to pick up again. And yeah, my heart's still there. I love to do theater. But I don't audition for it as much as I would like So agents and manager, hello. Yeah.
Definitely. So since we are in pandemic times, obviously things are slowing down. You're writing, you're keeping that creative energy going. What are some of the things on the pipeline that you're looking to are you working on any other comedy? Are you working on that? Or are you working on any other writing projects?
Yep. I mean, I'm continuing to do stand up. I've got shows lined up, COVID free and distanced shows happening because, stand up is starting to get back on the road again. And I am still writing. I think I told you, but I'm revisions with Tobit Raphael for a pilot called All American Aquinos. It's about a Filipino family.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to learn more about that.
Yeah. Well, it's basically our version of One Day at a Time with a Filipino family. So that's that. And I wrote another one, My Maputi Husbands, My White Husband. It's about me being married to a white guy and, the cultural divide and how weird that is. And like, he doesn't get things. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to explain it to you. So
I need all of this. Hollywood, come on.
Yeah. So reworking that stuff and hitting the stages and doing more comedy and just pushing everything out there. So okay. I literally am on a mission, just like you, being a host and bringing everyone together. I think my manager at this point is just like, could you just stop writing Filipino? All you're doing is writing Filipino. But I'm like, I am determined to make a scene. You know what I mean?
If we don't do it, they're not going to do it for us. Yeah. So, we are here. The community is ready. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it so much, Anna, that you are doing that. And man, please, because if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And we need more of us writing it and giving our voice in it instead of having other writers of non-Filipino persuasion.
Non-Filipino, right? And you're
like, what I'm saying? Yeah. So no, please. So those writing projects, I can't wait. And as those develop, if I can be involved in some production aspect of it, let me know if whatever I can do. I would be more than happy to help out with that. I love it. I love it so much. I'm gonna toss it to Kat to round us out. But I can't wait for this. And I'm gonna support you anytime.
Oh, thank you. You're the best. Oh, I do want to say one thing, that wordplay, like the Didiguan wordplay and the adobo wordplay. I'm like, this is genius. Who is happening right now?
Listen, I'm going to tell you, Anna, I'm working on a street. The reason I say all that, I'm working on a Filipino street wear brand.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to have shirts with all of that on there, cool animated versions of the food. I'm working on it. So you'll get like a ShoPowSho shirt. I told everybody once I finally get it out there, everybody that's been a guest is going to get a ShoPowSho shirt. And then if there's like another one of the line you want, I'll hook it up. Like I'm working on that.
Oh my God. I need it like yesterday.
Hell yeah.
It's I got so smart and funny. I was like, oh, I hear this.
I got to get that copyright down now, Go ahead, Kat.
Okay, since we are part of the Nerds of Color, we always like to end with our nerd check. So what is something that you are just super nerdy and enthusiastic about? What could you give us a TED Talk on?
Nerdy and enthusiastic about? My cat. I'm really enthusiastic about my cat. I'm obsessed with my cat. Like, I don't know if it's creepy that I take photos of her when she sleeps. She's also relatively new to the family. So I could give a TED Talk about Sammy cat.
Okay. I dig that. Yeah. It's something you could, if anybody was to test your gangsta, I know everything about this cat, or I know the perfect ways to take pictures of the cat, got to get it just right. Maybe get a little catnip to get them right to the camera.
You guys have cats?
I don't have cats. I
have a cat. I have a cat.
Yeah, cat. Oh yeah, because the cat always gets on the screen when we're talking. I love it.
Yes,
like be included. Her name is Mouse.
Hi, Mouse. Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah, I love cats. When I was a kid, I had cats, but we're a dog family, and my wife isn't big on cats, so. Yeah, no cats for me right now, but I love cats. But that's amazing, Anna. Again, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. I love your energy, your vibe. Just good peoples. you know, it's always good to talk to good peoples, and with what you're doing is amazing for our culture, for our people, that representation. I love it. So please keep bringing it. And if we can support you, if you tell us, let us know so we can do our best to support you, because we're here for you.
Thank you. And everything you guys are doing too. It's incredible. Like, you're bringing the community together and supporting each other. It's great.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you, Anna. Anna Tuazon Parsons. Make sure you check her out November 12th and 13th at the Crazy Woke Asian Festival in Santa Monica, California. And then as she further has things that spark off that we can put out there into the ether so y'all can know and catch it, we will put it out there. Anna, you're the best. Appreciate you.
Oh, you're the best.
Out of here. Boom. There you go. The amazing actor, comedian. She's a star. Anna Tuazon Parsons. I fell in love with her when she reached out and told me about her Asian Americanized an immigrant comedy special, talking about being an immigrant, a mestizo, as an adopted child, and then introduced me to the amazing Nikki Andres, and her telling me about, being LGBTQ and just that, and then hearing Aiden Park's story. It was just so amazing. You could feel seen. You're going to laugh. You're going to cry. Highly recommend that if it ever comes your way. But just Anna, and just everything she's doing, and for the community, for the people, for the culture. Yeah, she's doing a story about her white husband. Hilarious. And just growing up Asian and being like, not really being, you know what I'm saying? That I think would really connect with a lot of Asian women, Asian American women, that, finding these bonds and everything. It's just, she's amazing. I love her soul. What do you think, Kat?
Oh, I thought it was great. I thought what she said about just being determined to put Filipinos and Filipino culture in the spotlight, like, that's such a great, strong sentiment. I love that.
Yeah. I just love, that despite, it's, I hate to go back to the beginning part, but because it's tragic, but you think when people see those stories, or you see it like on TV or entertainment, oh, they're gonna wind up terrible. It breaks them up for life. But to see just that journey, and thankfully she had an amazing family and support system that created her into an amazing person. The sacrifices her mom did for her, she's now living vicariously through Anna. I just think that's so amazing and so beautiful. And yeah, again, I'm throwing so many flowers at you right now. And if you're watching this back, because I just think you're amazing. It's beautiful. Kat, thank you for joining me on this journey. Tina, we miss you. It's been a long night, so we're going to get up out of here. Kat, yeah. I love you. How can they reach out to you and all the amazing things you do?
You can find me at Kataphorric on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. You can also check out the ShoPowSho TikTok. If you want more behind the scenes, you can always follow us on Patreon or buy us a coffee.
Hell yeah. Show Kataphorric some love. That's my homie. Shout out to Viva Valentina. I think it's Viva Valentina on everything.
Or Viva.ValentinaXO.
Oh, there you go. That's right. There you go. And it's also in the description below for all of us. So please show us some love. Give us a follow. Let me swallow this. Follow me at Strange Since 1977 or at Far East. The Legend Kuya P, that's TikTok. The Nerds of Color on everything. ShoPowSho, obviously. And the NRW and at Newly Strange, they were Nerds Rule the World. I love y'all. Mahakita, salamat. Anna Tuazon Parsons. Check her out. Kataphorric, we're out of here. Love y'all. Boom, boom.
I'm Anna Tuazon Parsons. I am an actor, writer, and a comic, and I am guesting on the ShoPowSho. Check it out. Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm Anna Tuazon Parsons. I'm an actor, writer, and a comic. And being Filipino and my heritage means to me strength, adversity, and great cooking.